April of 1945, during the closing months of the Second World War, the MV Goya, after a brief air attack by the Soviet bombers, was sank by the Soviet mine-laying submarine L-3. This sinking took over roughly 6,000 to 7,000 lives, but was exceeded out by the sinking of the Wilhelm Gustloff just months prior. The MV Goya was a Norwegian motor freighter that was laid down in 1939 and later launched on April 4th, 1940 at the Akers Mekaniske Verksted, Oslo in Norway, and owned by Johan Ludwig Mowinckel-Riddere, and was named after the Spanish artist Francisco Goya, who was known for his romantic paintings and printmaking in the 18th and 19th century. The Goya was 146 meters long and had a capacity of 5,230 gross register tons that could carry 850 crew members. Upon completion, the ship was seized by Germany during the invasion of Norway. Now keep this in mind that she is a freighter and not a passenger liner. In 1942, Nazi Germany would refit the freighter to be an auxiliary transport vessel for German U-boats, and a year later turned into a depot ship, which is also known as a tender ship, providing support to smaller vessels. In 1944, she would be moved to Memel, which is the present-day Klaipėda in Lithuania, where she was used as a target ship for torpedo practice for the 24th U-boat flotilla. As we know, the 24th U-boat flotilla was a training flotilla of Nazi Germany during the Kriegsmarine during World War II. In January of 1945, the MV Goya took part of Operation Hannibal, a German naval evacuation operation of German civilians and troops from the Baltic states. The Goya was used as an evacuation ship, moving people from the eastern and southern Baltic. But luckily, the Goya was marked as a hospital ship and carried over 1,000 hospital beds for seriously wounded and immobile soldiers. Unfortunately, the same wouldn't be said for the MV Wilhelm Gustloff and the General von Steuben, as both vessels were lost in the hands of the Soviet sub S-13. Both videos about the MV Wilhelm Gustloff and the General von Steuben can be found down in the description box below. On April 16, 1945, the Goya was sailing from Hel and across the Baltic Sea to Kiel in western Germany. This convoy included the Goya, two smaller vessels, the Brennefels and the steam tug Adiri, two minesweeper convoy escorts, which is the M256 and the M328. Goya is one of the 1,000 ships that were commissioned to participate in Operation Hannibal, organized by Kriegsmarine Commander-in-Chief Karl Donitz. The MV Goya would be overcrowded with over 7,000 evacuees, wounded soldiers, and German troops. Let's keep this in mind. What the Nazis did was horrific and disgusting, and we know this, that there were innocent civilians that met the same fate as they did, and those civilians did not deserve that fate. As the Goya left port and close to the southern tip of the Hel Peninsula, the convoy was attacked by Soviet bombers. The main three bombers the Soviets used during the Second World War were the BB-MAI, Yakovlev Yak-2, and Yakovlev Yak-4. The model of the bombers are unknown to this very day. During the attack, a bomb dropped, hit the Goya, and caused minimal damage and routing the Hel Peninsula and leaving the Gdansk Bay. The convoy was sighted by the Soviet mine layer submarine L-3. Don't forget that mine layers can also carry torpedoes, and this spells bad news for the Goya, but not much. The Goya was faster than submarines, but the convoy was slowed by engine issues, which also necessitated a 20-minute stop for repairs. At 11:56 p.m. local time, Vladimir Konovalov gave the order to fire a spread of 4 torpedoes. One would strike the Goya amidship, the second exploded in the stern, sending fire and smoke up into the sky. The impact was so great that the ship's mast collapsed on refugees that were sleeping on the top deck. Within moments, the ship broke in two, with fire consuming its upper portions. Shortly after midnight, the Goya sank, drowning thousands in their beds. The Goya was not equipped with safety features as we normally see on a passenger ship and sank in 249 feet or 76 meters of water. Given the speed of the sinking, most passengers went down or died due to hypothermia. For the death toll is unknown and difficult to estimate since the ship's manifest is not accurate. Authors like to cite as over 6,700 or 7,200. The exact number of survivors is also a matter of dispute. Most estimate would place approximately 182 people saved. Other figures also cited, notably 172 and 183. In the aftermath of the Goya, the writing on the wall was imminent for Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler took his own life along with Eva Braun in the Fuhrer bunker on April 30th, 1945 during the Battle of Berlin. Germany's surrender was authorized by his successor, Reichspräsident or President of Germany, Karl Donitz, as on May 8, 1945 is the formal acceptance of the unconditional surrender of Germany, thus marking the end of World War II in Europe and the Eastern Front. The wreck of the MV Goya has been known to Polish fishermen but not identified, which is often called it as wreck number 88 on Polish Navy maps. In 2002, the wreck was discovered by Polish technical divers Grzegorz Dominik, Mikhail Prada, and Marek Jagodzinski, who also salvaged the compass that was on board. The wreck was located on April 16, 2003, 58 years on the exact same date of the sinking by an international expedition. It lies at the correct depth of 249 feet, as mentioned, and is remarkably in good condition, although covered with fishing nets and is littered with human remains. The wreck was officially declared as a war grave by the Polish Maritime Office in Gdynia, and in 2006 the decision was published in an official government gazette of the Pomeranian Voivodeship, making it illegal to dive within 500 meters of the wreck site.